What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another pregame prediction video for Week 17. The Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions are facing off on Saturday Night Football. Let's talk about it.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look the middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CeeDee Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
Yes, Week 17 is here, and we got 2 more games in the regular season. And for us Cowboy fans, we have at least 3 more games because the Cowboys have already punched their ticket to the playoffs. Now, you got the 11-4 Detroit Lions coming in to take on the 10-5 Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are on a 2-game losing streak, but they are 7-0 at home. So take with that what you will. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and the Cowboys are on an insane home winning streak right now. I lose count. That's how absurd it is. I think it's 15 or 16 games. But Cowboys, like I said, they're coming off a 2-game losing streak, losing on the road, tough road trip, losing to the Bills, losing to the Dolphins, got blown out, got beat by the Bills, and then lost a very close one. Literally in the final seconds against the Miami Dolphins. As for the Detroit Lions, they're on a 2-game winning streak, beating the Broncos, beating the Vikings. The Vikings game was a little bit closer than I think it should have been, but ended up winning it. And they're coming in, and they have a 5-3 record on the road, which I am totally jealous of. I wish we could be near that successful on the road, and you guys know how I feel about the road already. And it's unfortunate, but we will be finishing on the road below 500 no matter what. We're going to probably, it's going to be 4 or 5, or I think like 3 and 6 or something like that. But regardless, before we jump in, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. This is my final video, one of my final videos, because we have the Madden prediction video coming out later today because it's a double post day because the game is on a Saturday. This is one of my final videos of the 2023 year, and I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you. You guys have no idea. Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, here on YouTube, or even X. Like, I can't begin to thank you guys enough. Like, this was a hobby, and it was a fun hobby. Like, I love doing it. You never made money off of it. And now we're up to the point where, I mean, I'm not a millionaire or anything crazy like that, obviously, but like, there is something coming in, and to know that people watch and we engage and we comment and we have fun watching the Cowboys, and, you know, being different, you know, being unbiased and realistic. I'm not always going to tell you guys what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think you need to hear. I can't begin to thank you enough that we've created a community around that, and I'm just super thankful about that. And I really hope that you enjoyed your Christmas. I know I did. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this week I kind of slowed down on content. Just this week is really busy in general, but I always want to just take a step back before the new year. And so that's why there's been a lack of content. That's why there wasn't no film breakdown or anything like that. It wasn't accidental. It was all intentional. You know, Christmas, and then after Christmas, and then I have work off. This is not my full-time job. But I was off from one of my jobs, and then it's my son's birthday this week. So really busy week that I really love to enjoy. And so, but still obviously wanted to bring you guys a pregame prediction video, as well as a Madden prediction video, as well as the postgame reaction video on Saturday. But just want to let you guys know that I'm super thankful for you. And, you know, New Year's coming up, so I hope you guys have some resolutions or have some hopes and dreams, at least some goals set in mind. And if you guys have any questions, or you ever want to chat or DM or anything like that, I'm totally open to that. Like, we're just not a Cowboys community. I want to help you guys any way that I can. So, you know, whether that's Instagram, X, like, the door is always open. Like, I'm not that hard to reach, believe it or not. Like, you can talk to me. It's not that hard. But let's jump on in. Before we always jump into our pregame prediction videos, especially here in the past few weeks, of course, we got to talk about the NFC East race. So, okay, where are we at? Right, so the Eagles are currently in the lead. Boom, there you go. 11-4 record. They won over the Giants, which was a little bit close than I think it should have been. Again, they're the Philadelphia Frauds. They're not that good. They might be a first-round bounce, but we'll see how these final 2 weeks go. And then the Cowboys obviously lost their game. They lost 2 games. And then let's talk about the number 1 seed really quick here. The 49ers dropped a game against the Ravens, which I wasn't actually expecting. Now, this is the bitter part. If the Cowboys at least just won one of their games in this 2-game road trip, Like, things would be shaken up right now. There would be things to talk about. And I am so mad. I am not over that loss against Miami. I'm going to tell you right now. And I am not over the loss in Buffalo. I had expected the loss in Buffalo, but I expected them to bounce back and get a solid win on the road. But they made too many miscues. I mean, they stomped on their own feet and they shot themselves in their own foot, and they lost that game in Miami. And I'm so mad that if they could have just won one of them, we would have something to talk about when talking about the number 1 seed. Like, the Eagles losing to the Seahawks was a gift. The 49ers dropping a game to the Ravens was a gift. And it's been like, I'm just frustrated. I don't want to get too angry to start off the video because the Cowboys just handled their business. And if they just had the right mentality going on the road, and if they could just execute, man, there would be something to talk about when talking about the number 1 seed. But unfortunately, there isn't. They couldn't capitalize. And I think they lost to 2 teams that aren't really that good. I don't think the Bills are that good. I think they're one-dimensional. And I think the Miami Dolphins are frauds, especially with beating nobody. And I guess we have to throw the Cowboys into that because, the Cowboys lost. So that frustrates me. You lost 2 games you shouldn't have. I know you're the better team than both of them, but you didn't. And that sucks. But there is something still to talk about with the NFC East. Number 1 seed may be gone. And it has been gone for a few weeks. But with the NFC East, we got a little bit of heartbeat. And unbiased and realistically, there still is a chance. As angry and as upset as I am, that if the Cowboys just won one of the games, obviously they would be in a really good position in the NFC East. But do not worry, because there is still a slight window, in which the Cowboys can clinch the NFC East. It does require the Eagles to lose a game to the Giants. And it does require relying on the strength of victory, which is still yet to be determined. But then obviously it would require the Cowboys to win out. And excuse me. And they have a tough game against the Lions coming up here on Saturday. So that's basically your scenario. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this what if fairyland, but that's your scenario. Cowboys win out, Eagles lose to the Giants in the next 2 weeks. Then we can start relying on that strength of victory, which can really change a lot of things. But as you can tell, I'm a little bit sick, so today's video might be a little bit shorter just because I'm sick. I'm sure you don't want to hear this for 20, 25 minutes. And I know the past videos have been like 40, 45 minutes, but this one's probably going to be a little bit shorter. But there you go. Number 1 seed, NFC East. So let's jump on into this pregame prediction video. We got the Dallas Cowboys defense and this Detroit Lions offense. Let's throw it up. Here's the stats. And gosh dang, man, the Lions, they're a tough team. Look at that. They're 3rd offense in the league, 5th in passing, 3rd in rushing. One thing you got to know about this football team is they love to run the ball, and they run it so well. Jahmyr Gibbs, rookie, and David Montgomery. This is a running football team. And here's the thing that you need to know about this Detroit Lions team. I talked about that road record, and it's really important to bring road records up. Because what is at the essence of a road game, right? How do you win a road game? You win a road game by sticking to your brand of football, by having an identity. Because if you know who you are, you can go out there and execute no matter, rain or shine, snow or sleet. It doesn't matter. You know who you are. You know what you're good at, and you're going to go out there and win. And when you do it, 5 out of the 8 times that the Lions have done it, you got a pretty good football team that can not only win at home and take advantage of home field advantage, but go out there and replicate it on the road. So they're not really going into uncharted territory here, right? AT&T Stadium, even though we have the home record and, we have that really great winning streak going on, AT&T Stadium is very neutral for a lot of fans. And best believe Detroit fans will show up at AT&T Stadium on Saturday. But it's neutral ground, and, the Lions are used to playing inside. They play at Ford Field. So this is neutral for them. And they played here before. They actually played here last year, which the Cowboys won that game. So this is going to be a tough game. This offense will come out to show, and I'm talking about the Lions offense. And it's a bad mismatch, man. Like, it's a bad mismatch. The Lions really know how to run the football really well. And the Cowboys, have struggled, have shown it consistently that they have not been able to stop the run. Cardinals game, they gashed us. James Conner. Buffalo Bills, call it what it was. It was a massacre. Like, they just completely shredded our run defense. The Lions know that now. What are they going to do? But let's take a quick look as we're going to jump into the running game and the passing game here in a little bit. But let's take a look at their schedule. So like I said, 2-game winning streak. I will say this. It is peculiar who they've lost to. The Ravens, the Ravens are a tough football team. But you lost to the Seahawks. That's early in the season. You lost to the Bears, and you lost to the Packers. So you split with the Bears in your division. But that just made no sense. You had no business losing to the Bears, even though it was in Chicago. And Chicago is a tough place to play, despite what, no matter what kind of Bears team you're playing. But wins, you look at it, obviously the Chiefs win to start the season off was really big. And then everything else kind of gets lost. Broncos, you can maybe bring that up. 42-17. That's when they had Russell Wilson. Now he's benched, but the Broncos were really on a good run there. So kind of, and they don't choose who they play, right? And they're kind of in a weaker division. But they've really played really well all season long, and the stats don't lie, as they have ran the football really well. Jared Goff has had a really good season, and they've seen some young players step up like St. Brown, Laporta. And so let's jump on in here. So talking about this Cowboys defense, taking a step back and reevaluating those 2 weeks, right? It's gone. It's over with. What can we take away? Well, the good news is you limited Josh Allen, because Josh Allen really didn't even do too much. He didn't have to, because James Cook ran all over us. So I guess there's a silver lining in that. And I think if you watch my film breakdown from a couple weeks ago about that Bills game, the defense made some plays when they needed to. It's just penalties got in the way, boneheaded plays, road conditions, just those sort of things. Those kind of things are neutralized when you come inside AT&T Stadium, because it's an inside stadium and you're playing at home, so you feel a lot better. You don't have to travel. So, and then with the Miami Dolphins game, taking a step back, as angry and frustrated as I still am about that game, you held the number one offense to one touchdown. One touchdown. So, that's the great thing to take away. And, Tyreek Hill, who arguably is in that, top 3 conversation for MVP, no touchdowns. So you did your job pretty well. And, outside of that bogus penalty on Micah Parsons in the red zone before the end of the first half, who knows? They may have not gotten a touchdown. So they did a really good job. This defense is just, it's just plays aren't going their way, unfortunately. And it's a game of inches. And we've seen that with the Philly game. We saw that with the Miami game. And I do have to give kudos. I think this defense is playing tough. They're trying their best, and they've made a few slight improvements, and just unfortunately some plays haven't gone their way. And as we all know, those kind of things can dictate the ending of a football game. But the biggest thing that I have not seen from this defense in the past few weeks is takeaways. We talk about this defense. We talk about takeaways. Takeaways is their bloodline. Like, it is their lifeline, not just to the Cowboys, but any defense. And you look at the past couple of seasons, the Dallas Cowboys have been first and second in the NFL when it comes to takeaways. They haven't gotten any in the past couple of weeks. They didn't intercept Josh Allen. They didn't intercept Tua Tagovailoa. They haven't got any forced fumbles. So they're stranded. And this, not only does this defense, but this entire team feeds off of takeaways. The offense, the defense, it feeds off of it. Just taking away the ball from the opponent is just so much life in that. And they haven't had it in the past couple of weeks. And it killed them in Buffalo. And it was just so depleting in Miami. And they needed that on the road. So just got to get back into that. And I think you can, because I think there are a few holes in the Lions offense. Inexperience, being on the road, those kind of things can help you get takeaways. And I expect a few takeaways from this Dallas Cowboys defense. But if the Lions want to win, they just got to run the ball, man. They got to run the ball. And if you take a look at the stat up here, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, we talked about them earlier. 195 attempts, 910 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 154 attempts, 872 yards. Both have combined for 20 touchdowns. Both their running backs have more yards than our running back number one. Yeah, they have an identity. We don't. I would say that the Lions are playing more Cowboys football that we all know, and the Cowboys are kind of just winging it. They're really good at throwing the ball, but when they're not throwing the ball, they're kind of a dead duck in the water. And you may say, well, hey, that's because, the Lions are a run-first football team, Kyle. Like, that's why their stats are like that. Nope. Because if we bring up St. Brown and their stats, St. Brown has 106 receptions for 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. Here's CeeDee Lamb's stats. Just 3 more catches at 109, obviously a lot more yards with 1,400, and just 1 more touchdown of 9 touchdowns total. And if you look at the totals, obviously with Laporta there and Jake Ferguson, this offense is good. Do not kid yourself. And this defense has their hands full on Saturday night. And I challenge them to have their best game on Saturday or Sunday against the Miami Dolphins, and they came pretty close. They got a lot of stops. They got to they didn't get any takeaways, but they put forth a good effort. But when the game was on the line, they did not succeed. Dak and the offense, and in my post-game reaction video, I never called out Dak or anything like that, and rightfully so, because despite the frustrations and the malfunctions and not getting into the end zone enough, he was able to will his team down the field and get that lead 20-19. He did his job when we needed it. It was going to be, and I said it. I said, I don't care if this game is going to be ugly. I don't care. You just got to find a way to win. And Dak and the offense found a way to win despite all of their frustrations. But this defense, supposed to be the doomsday defense, supposed to be a lot of playmakers, supposed to have a lot of dominant players, supposed to have the defensive player of the year, Michael Parsons, was a complete no-show when it was most important and significant for the season and the game. They did not show up. They allowed a field goal. That's disappointing. That's a red flag, and they need to bounce back. If they have any pride in their work, and they have said it time and time again that they do, you need to have a great game here against Detroit to give your team a chance to win. And the Cowboys released Rashaan Evans this week, kissing away any last chance of having a linebacker on the squad. We're just winging it now on defense. We're saying, the hell with it. Bring our safeties down. We're going down swinging, which is very scary, and I'm very worried about that. And if you go up against the wrong offense that can exploit that, it's going to be a long day. Regardless, let's get into my defensive predictions here for the Dallas Cowboys and Detroit Lions. I talked to you guys about how takeaways are the lifeline to this defense, and it invigorates so much momentum, not only for the defense, but for the offense. The Dallas Cowboys need to get back to that because they led the NFL and they were in the top percentages in the past couple of seasons. They need takeaways for a chance to win this game. You can't just rely all on the offense. This defense has to do some legwork. So, defensive predictions, I got the Cowboys forcing a fumble. I believe our defense is going to be ripping, and they're going to get that ball out just like they did against Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago on Sunday Night Football, because this is a Saturday Night Football game, and America's going to be watching. Next thing I got an interception. I believe one of our guys is going to get an interception from Jared Goff, and it's going to come at a critical time, and it's going to be another takeaway, which this defense absolutely needs. Last prediction is I talked about takeaways, but most importantly, this defense loves to score. So I believe this Dallas Cowboys defense gets back in the end zone, and they will score and put some points on this board to help this Cowboys try to beat the Lions on Saturday. And those are my defensive predictions. Well, thanks again for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's talk about this Cowboys offense versus this Lions defense. If you take a look at the board, Cowboys are 6th in the NFL, and the defense for the Lions is a little bit lackluster, 15th in the NFL. So we got an opportunity for Dakota Prescott to cook. And you know what? I'll stop for a moment here and talk about MVP. I really wish that we could look at it from an unbiased and realistic standpoint like I do myself here. Because Brock Purdy, I think, should have kissed MVP goodbye after that terrible performance. And he never should have been involved in that conversation because he has some great playmakers, Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is out of it. Tyreek Hill should be in it. Christian McCaffrey should be in it. But if you look at quarterbacks, Dak Prescott has played as one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the National Football League all season long. You look at the bad game in Buffalo, only threw an interception. I know he was flirting with it most of the time that entire game, but, only one interception. You look at that game, you might say, did he throw 2 or 3? No, he only threw 1. And then the Dolphins game, didn't get the win, but did have an MVP drive that everyone loves to see to get this game, to get the lead back. So I think Dak Prescott can really put the league on notice. Unfortunately, he just doesn't really have the defense at the moment. Wouldn't it be something if he threw for something like 4 touchdowns or something like that and had a big game against the Detroit Lions? It's possible. It's possible, especially with this defense. This offensive line, man, they got to hold up, though. Terrence Steele has to play better. Tyron Smith, I still at this moment don't know exactly what his status is for. That's going to be big because obviously we saw that Chuma Edoga cannot block worth anything. So we need someone out there. We need Tyron Smith out there. But anyways, I expect this offense to bounce back in a big way and put up big numbers in this outing. Like I said, I think Dak Prescott's going to have a successful game. CeeDee Lamb's going to have a big game. Brandon Cooks needs to be involved more because if you just look at every game that we have played this year, the Dallas Cowboys are a better team when you give catches to Brandon Cooks. The way he spreads the field, his speed going vertically, get him the ball. Mike McCarthy, you have to bounce back here and have a better play calling outing than you did in Miami, and especially the one you had in Buffalo. He's been out of his element, not feeling the game, not going with the momentum. So he needs to be better. I'm not going to get mad, but he just needs to be better. And get Brandon Cooks involved, get Jake Ferguson involved. I mean, he was on a hot streak for the longest time for a couple of games there and has just been completely neutral the past couple of games. So get back to that. Get back to getting it in your playmakers' hands. I don't want to get too mad about that. And, I want to say that I want to see this running game going, but I'm done, man. I'm done. I'm done vouching for this running game. And me saying that, who knows, it might actually be the game where Tony Pollard goes off, but I'm done with this, man. Like, as you can tell, I'm still frustrated and angry with the 2-game losing streak, but what a freaking lie they sold us on saying that we're going to run the ball. And, it just never has happened. And I know there's a lack of personnel when it comes to the offensive line. And, TP20 hasn't been the same since his injury, but you rolled all the dice, man. Like, you had the option to trade for someone at the trade deadline, someone like Derrick Henry, but now you have made the bed where you have laid, and you have said TP20 is our guy, and we are here now. And, I'm just done. I'm done with the running game. I want to see this running game succeed because I know that's what wins football games, and that's especially what travels on the road. But, I just forget it. Just air it out. Air it out. Just Dak, win us this game. Unfortunately, we're at that point. Remember when we were at that point with Romo's career, we were just like, please, Tony, just win us the game. I don't care how it happens. Just throw for 500 yards and do it. And obviously, it wasn't for winning championships. It wasn't winning for playoff games, but it made for some exciting football. But that's where I'm at, man. Like, Dak, just go out there and win the game. Like, because I know we're not going to try to run it. It's just disappointing and, whatever. Anyways, so that is where I'm at. I think Dak Prescott has a big game, and he's been playing really well all season long. Even in the losing streak, I think there's been moments that he's played really well. So here we go. Offensive predictions for the Dallas Cowboys and Detroit Lions on Saturday Night Football. I got Dak Prescott here first. Let's go over it. Like I said, I think he puts up an incredible game against the Detroit Lions and against this defense that is not as good as a lot of the defenses that Dak Prescott has played. And when Dak has played those teams, he's put up really great numbers. And I think this continues here. I got Dak Prescott for over 300 yards. I think he's going to have an incredible game. He's going to air this out because running the football no longer exists for the Dallas Cowboys. And I believe he's going to throw 3 touchdowns on Saturday night against the Lions. And I got 3 of those touchdowns going to 3 different receivers. I got CeeDee Lamb getting in the end zone once again. And I got Brandon Cooks. Just get Brandon Cooks involved and good things will happen. We've seen that all season long. But I think Cooks gets in the end zone and Jake Ferguson, Fergie again. Same thing with Cooks. We've seen good things happen when you get Cooks and Ferguson involved. Get Ferguson involved, and he's going to have a touchdown. And those are my offensive predictions for Saturday Night Football with the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. Well, thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And again, once again, hope you had a good Christmas and Happy New Year. Hope it's the best for you, like you guys have made mine this past year. Let's get into this game prediction. I'm going to be unbiased and realistic. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't trust this team. They lost my trust. You had the chance. If you're a good team, if you're a great team, you got to win on the road. You didn't do that. You didn't do it this year. Even if you go to Washington, if you win, you're still going to be 4-5 on the road. And even if you win this game at home, which would make you undefeated at home, you're going to be 4-5 on the road. This is a great team, great talent, great players, a good coaching staff, in my opinion. And they shouldn't have lost 2 of those games, like I said earlier. They shouldn't have lost to the Bills, and they shouldn't have lost to the Dolphins. They are better than both those teams. And I'll say this. Same way that the Cowboys fans looked at last week's game and said, oh, we don't lose back-to-back. We haven't lost back-to-back in how many years? No, that does not guarantee a win because this has happened for this amount of time or this whatever. That's stupid. Just stop. Same way, you cannot go into this game and say, oh, well, the Cowboys can't possibly lose 3 in a row because we're undefeated at home no matter who plays us. If you just get real, and let me reintroduce myself. I'm an unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan. I love the Cowboys. I'm a fan. See the wall, see the hat, see the shirt. But I also see the game unbiased and realistically. And I can tell you that you can't just say, oh, because they're undefeated, they're going to win, or just because, that's just a bunch of you-know-what. There's still a game to be played, and you got the Detroit Lions coming into town, who are a really good football team, and have won 11 games, and they've been 5-3 on the road, so they know how to bring it, and they have a better identity with their offense and defense than the Dallas Cowboys do at this point. And look, I know it's the Jimmy Johnson game. He's going into the Ring of Honor. But, when the triplets went into the Ring of Honor, Santana Moss had 2 back-to-back touchdowns for Mark Brunell, and it ruined the night. So I'm not all for good mojo, and just because this is happening, that means we're going to win. This is going to be a tough game. And the Lions are the real deal. They're tough. They're more physical. They have more identity with who they are. Hence why they've won more road games this year than the Cowboys have. This is going to be tough, and I'm going to be unbiased and realistic, and I'm going to be real with you every single time. I would not be surprised if we lost this game. I mean, the 49ers went on a 3-game losing streak. I mean, the Eagles went on a 3-game losing streak. The Cowboys are on a 2-game losing streak, and if they lose this game, they're going on a 3-game losing streak. So would it surprise me if the top 3 teams in the NFC East or the NFC had 3-game losing streaks this year? Nope. And do I trust the Cowboys to go out there and beat a competitor? No, because they haven't shown it all year long. You look at the facts, be real with yourself. I'll be cheering them on just like you guys. I promise you. I'm not cheering for them to lose. And that's the great thing about being an unbiased and realistic fan is if I'm right, then yeah, cool, I guess I'm right. But also the fan inside of me also mourns the loss of what happened. So what I got right here is I wouldn't be surprised if the Detroit Lions punched us in the mouth to start this game, and the Cowboys are fighting their way back the entire time. That's what I feel, unfortunately, will happen, and I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. Like, this is not me standing on a hill wanting to be right. Like, I will go down and be wrong and be happy if the Cowboys win, but I'm telling you right now, I just don't see it. And maybe I'm just being pessimistic because I'm sad and frustrated and angry about the 2-game losing streak and losing to 2 teams that aren't that good. And yes, I don't believe the Bills and Dolphins are that good, and the Cowboys should at least win one of them. But yes, the Cowboys are going to lose to the Detroit Lions on Saturday Night Football, unfortunately, on the Jimmy Johnson day, on the Jimmy Johnson game. And I got the Cowboys losing a wild one. This one's going to be a crazy high-scoring game between 2 high-powered offenses. And I got the Cowboys losing to the Lions 37-31. Well, other than that, be sure to like and subscribe. And like I said, that is it for this video. And check out the Madden prediction video. And, of course, I'll see you guys for the post-game reaction video after the game Saturday night. Other than that, see you then. Go Cowboys.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look at middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CeeDee Lamb was